Hi, my name is Tati and welcome to my channel. Today's video is the 20 books that I would like to read this winter. I'm a very structured thinker sometimes, so for me, winter is specifically December, January, February. Like, that's it. This season, I would like to expand the genres that I'm reading. So far, I have only read romance and fantasy, and a little bit of literal, what's the word? Lit fic, like, or general fiction. So I would like to expand my horizons in that way. So I have a little bit of historical fiction on my TBR for this month. I've got sci-fi, I've got non-fiction, which is not something that I'm too accustomed with. I've read a memoir. This season I do want to expand my horizons, so that is what I'm intentionally putting my focus into. So without further ado, let's get into my list. There is a mix of audiobooks, ebooks, and physical books because I am not too interested in spending my money on physical books that I have not read yet. So I am being very good about using my access to Libby. And with that access, like I'm listening to a lot of audiobooks and I'm very into that right now, so I'm going to continue on that train. The first audiobook I have on the list is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. Onyx Storm is the last book so far in the Empyrean series, the Fourth Wing series. If you have not heard of Fourth Wing, baby, where you been at? But Fourth Wing is about Violet Sorrengail, who she's like a chronic illness where it's like she's got like weak joints or whatever, but her mom, who's the general of like the dragon riders, they're like an army but they ride on dragons, and her mom kind of forced her to go into that group, their war college, and Violet kind of has to figure out how to like survive, for one, because she's put through a lot of physical tests, but also like try not to get killed by the other cadets there. They're like, the students are called cadets. She has to try not to get killed by them because they hate her, because their parents, some of their parents were part of a revolution. Her mom put like the end to the revolution, so the kids kind of have a grudge against her. And yeah, but it's got like dragons and it's fantasy, and I'm so excited to read the third book, and I have it on pretty good authority that I'm getting the book for Christmas. So I want to do my first what do they call it, immersive reading. So once I unwrap the book, if I get it, I'm going to read the physical book while listening to the audiobook, and I think that'll be just a really fun experience, so I'm very excited to do that. The next 3 books that are on my list are the last 3 books from the ACOTAR series: A Court of Wings and Ruin, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver and Flames, all by Sarah J. Maas. I'm really enjoying listening to the audiobooks. All I gotta tell you right now is Resana's my boy. I'm really enjoying this story. I think it's so fun. I think it's real cute. That first book was a little, but the second book really hooked me in, so I'm very excited to finish that series. Once again, if you have never heard of ACOTAR, where have you been? But basically, the story follows Feyre, who is human, and her family's really, really poor, and basically she's like the sole breadwinner. So she goes out, she kills a wolf with the intent to like sell it at the market so she get money and food for her family. But turns out the wolf ain't just a wolf, he's a fairy, F-A-E-R-I-E. That's not cool with the fairies, because like in the history, the fairies were enslaving the humans, so there's a little bit of bad blood between them. But basically Feyre has to go off and live in the fairy world as like retribution for killing that fairy. We're rocking with Feyre, you know, she's growing, she's learning, she's getting stronger, she's loving, and I'm just so excited to continue listening to these books. Book number 5 on my list is A Man Called Uva by Frederick Bachman. I've heard a lot about this book, and apparently it's about like this old man who's like so grumpy, and then like he loses his wife, and basically with that he loses like all will to live, and then like a young lively family moves in next door and things start to change for him. And I think this would be a very beautiful story. I have yet to cry reading any of the books I've read so far, and I'm pretty sure this one is supposed to hit me like right up in here, which is a new experience. So I am excited to tackle that, take that on, and we'll see how it goes, but I'm a little scared. Just a little bit. I'm a little scared. Number 6 on the list is FABLE by R.F. Kuang. I hear a lot about R.F. Kuang, or like that she's like a smart person writer, and I fancy myself a bit of a genius. It's about this Chinese orphan who then gets like recruited to go to Oxford University and study in their like translation school, and then they find out that the way they're getting their magical powers is from the silver that they're mining in their colonies, which is created by like the power of translation. I'm not really sure, but the cover of the book looks really cool, and I hear about a lot of people talking about R.F. Kuang, so I feel like this is a pretty good place to start. If I'm tripping, if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments, but I just feel like that's where I'm gonna start. Alright, number 7 is The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. This is a historical fiction, and it focuses on the Chicken Hill neighborhood in Pennsylvania during the 1920s and 30s. And this neighborhood was predominantly Black and Jewish people, and they were working together, living and coinciding in this area, facing like struggles and hardships of being a marginalized community in that time period. Like, not something I'm not aware of, hello, but it's not something I normally venture in my reading. I don't know, was that cohesive? I feel like I was just jabbering at y'all for a second. Ooh. Number 8 is Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Clara and the Sun is about an artificial intelligence named Clara who is purchased as a companion to a little girl, and throughout the book we're getting from Clara's perspective the human experience, what it means to be human, to love, to go through hardships and all those things. Look at me getting into my science fiction bag. I'm so excited. Like, I'm so pumped up for this season, for like all of the books that I'm about to read, because I'm really like, I'm stepping way out of my comfort zone. Alright, now we're getting into our holiday book section. So, book number 9 is Christmas in Spite of You by Casey Mills. This story is about Canton, who is a neat freak, and Noelle, who loves Christmas. And I guess it's like forced proximity, like they have to stay together for a week, and I'm assuming they're gonna be like clashing, and then they're gonna end up falling in love, and I am here for that. For the holiday season. I'm not much of a seasonal reader, as I do live in Florida, which I for some reason have to mention every video, but we don't really get seasons. So maybe one day it's 50 degrees and I'm feeling like, ooh, about to get cozy, read my little Christmas book, and then the next day it's 80 degrees and it's not really the vibes anymore. So it's kind of hard for me to keep that momentum, but I feel like Christmas is different, because whereas fall is like an outside thing, the season is fall, I feel like Christmas is manufactured in a way where it does not matter what the climate is, what time zone you're on, it can be Christmas. All you need is the lights and the music and the decoration, and boom, it's Christmas. It don't matter if it's July. So I feel like this might be a little bit easier for me to get into, because I can make Christmas around me. So I'm very excited. Number 10, Wrapped Up in You by Talia Hibbert. I be hearing a lot about Miss Talia Hibbert, so I'm about to see for myself. This is another one of those forced proximity things. It's about an actor named Will who wants to finally confess his feelings to his childhood best friend Abby. They get stuck at his grandmother's house during a blizzard, and she's a little reluctant, but it seems like the time that they spend together is going to create the perfect opportunity for them to kind of realize those goals. Once again, very Hallmarky, very cute. Pretty sure it'll be an easy read for me. Next is Cruel Winter with You by Ali Hazelwood. I am hoping that I do not get drained and just tired of this whole forced proximity thing, because it does seem to be a running thing between these holiday romances. But yet again, it's about Jamie, who is stuck in a blizzard, who would have guessed it, with Mark, who is her brother's childhood best friend, and she feels like, it says she feels like he's the one who got away, so it's giving a little second chancey. Also, yeah, I'm not good with the tropes. I really don't care for like the trope names, but I feel like it does make it a little easier when I'm trying to explain like what it is. It's Ali Hazelwood, and I like the way that she writes books, so literally love deep in, but I think that this will be good. The reviews say that it's a good one, so I'm excited to read this one. Then last up for the holiday books, I'm not sure if this is a holiday book at all, but the Sprayed Edges was giving Christmas sweater, so I'm gonna say that this is a holiday book. It is 9 Month Contract by Amy Dawes. It is about a man, a grumpy mountain man. He's supposed to be grumpy. Yeah, he's a grumpy mountain man, and he wants to have a baby, so he puts an ad out for a surrogate, and Trista is the name of the woman who answers that call. His whole intention is like, there's not going to be anything more to this other than you are the vessel that my child will come through, just for them to continue on and him fall in love with her. I'm ready. I'm ready for this one. This is very high on the TBR. All right, y'all, and we're back. After about an hour and a McDonald's trip, we are now back in business. Oh, and just to go off on a little tangent, I do not appreciate how McDonald's will just throw together a fish fillet and then hand it to you like you're supposed to enjoy it. Like, I'm convinced that they stand across the kitchen and they just like toss the ingredients of that fish fillet into the box and hope it sticks. On top of the fact they give you a quarter of a slice of cheese to go on that sandwich. Like, who? Alright, number 13 is King of Pride by Anna Huang. This is the second book in the Kings of Sin series. So this one follows Kai, who is Dante from the first book's best friend, I guess. Reserve, control, proper default. Kai Young has neither had the time nor inclination for chaos, and Isabella with her purple hair and inappropriate jokes is chaos personified. Well, that's gonna be cute. I am very interested in continuing the Kings of Sin series, and that being the second book, I am well on my way. Next up is Gravity by Sarah Kate. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really remember what this one was about. This is like the first book I saw when I got onto Book Talk, so I went out and bought it. 3 months on a private island, 2 men, $1 million. All I have to do is tame Nash Wild. Ooh, that sounds intense. Okay. Gravity by Sarah Kate. There is dust on the bottom of that. That is gross. I'm sinking. Do you see me? I'm sinking. Ooh. Number 15 is What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. What the River Knows is the first book in the Secrets of the Nile duology. It's a historical fantasy about an Argentinian woman who travels back to like 19th century Egypt to figure out like the truth about her parents' mysterious death. There's like family secrets and like magic, and it sounds so fun. I'm very into Egyptian mythology, and not even just the mythology, like the actual like structure of ancient Egypt. When I was little, I had this book and it was like Cleopatra's diary or something like that, and I have no idea where the book went. I never got rid of it. I have not seen it since I moved out of my apartment. So it's around here somewhere, I don't know, but I really enjoyed that book. I never finished it because I wasn't a very diligent reader as a child, but I did really enjoy the book and the concept of that book. So I am very excited to get into this that's like got like magic and all of these elements in it, especially now that I'm like paying attention to the books that I'm reading. So I just think this book will be really fun. By this point in my TBR, we would have made it to February, which, as we all know, is Black History Month. And I would like to go through the books that I have on my bookshelf already. I have a few very important stories that I would love to get through. So we are going to prioritize that in the month of February. Starting off with The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. Lily, a young white girl, flees her abusive household with her caretaker, Rosalie, after Rosalie is arrested for having an altercation with some of the racists in the town. And while they're on the run, they end up staying with these 3 black sisters who are beekeepers. And while they're there, they are learning about like love and sisterhood. I saw bits and pieces of the movie when I was younger, mostly because like I was a still am, very big Queen Latifah fan, and I knew Queen Latifah was in the movie. So I only really paid attention to the parts that she was in. So I didn't have a very big grasp on the story, but I do remember the scene where they went to the movies and there was like a white section and like a black section, and there was, I don't really remember, but I will be reading this book. Number 18 is Parable of the Talents by Octavia Butler. I have never read an Octavia Butler book, but I did read the blurb on the back of Kindred, And when I tell you, I don't like scary movies already, right? But the one scary movie that has stuck with me the absolute worst was Antebellum, and it was about this black woman living in today's time who was kidnapped and ended up a slave. I had nightmares about that for weeks. I don't like that. Then I read the back of Kindred, and that's exactly what that book was about, and I was like, whoa, I can't. But then I went to the Black Book Bash, and there was like this table with a bunch of books, so I'm looking at the back of each of them, and I go to read the blurb on the back of this book in 2032, so the future. Lauren Olamina has survived the destruction of her home and family and realized her vision of a peaceful community in Northern California based on her newly founded faith, Earthseed. The fledgling group provides refuge for outcasts facing persecution after the election of an ultra-conservative president who vows to make America great again. In an increasingly divided and dangerous nation, Laura's subversive colony, a minority religious faction led by a black woman, becomes a target for President Jarrett's reign of terror and oppression. So then I get to go looking. Like, what year did this book come out? Because, like, that's kind of crazy and oddly specific. I get to looking, and it say copyright 1998 by Octavia E. Butler. 1998. Is she a fortune teller? And if she is, I'm concerned about the fortunes that she's telling. If there was ever a book more poignant for the moment and time that we're in, this would be the book. So I wouldn't say I'm excited to read this book, but it feels necessary that I read the book, and that's what I'm here for right now. Next up on the list is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. This is an autobiography, and I've heard about this book my entire life. I've been seeing it around, had this book on my shelf for at least a couple years, and I never knew it was an autobiography. But apparently it is describing Miss Angelou's early years facing racism and other traumas as a black woman growing up in the South. From what I understand, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings mixes together an autobiography with literary fiction, which I think sounds like an amazing toss-up of two things together. I'm very interested in seeing how she weaves those two things together to create an engaging story. So that is next on the list. We are in the home stretch. The second to last book is Barracoon, The Story of the Last Black Cargo by Zora Neale Hurston. Barracoon presents the story of Cujo Lewis, which is not his birth name, but he was the last known survivor of the slave ship, the Clotilda. Hurston wrote the book based off of her interviews with him from 1927 and 1931, where he talks about his childhood in Africa, his capture, and his time in slavery in the United States. I feel that I have a very personal connection to Zora Neale Hurston, being as I was born and raised in her final resting place, and I lived near and worked in her birthplace, Eatonville, Florida. Thank you very much. On top of that, Zora Neale Hurston was an anthropologist, and I studied anthropology at Florida Atlantic University. Go Owls! So her story and the books that she writes, I've always had a interest and a leaning towards, but my limiting factor there is her, I guess they call that prose, the way that she writes. The way that she writes dialogue is exactly the way the person speaks, which from an anthropological perspective is fantastic because you're preserving the culture and like details of an individual person by writing down exactly what they said and not putting your own, well, I guess you still kind of are, not necessarily putting your own spin or understanding on what they're saying, by kind of taking yourself out of the equation and writing it how they said. So if they said, like in this book, when Cujo talks about Africa, he says Afiki, and she writes Afiki in the book, and all of his speaking sections are written in that kind of like broken English, and it's a little bit confusing, but, and I will stress this again, as I am now older and have a longer attention span, but also two, like a more developed will to understand, because I can take regular old English and I can Ebonicize it, I can AAV it up, because that is what I'm used to doing. I'm used to being in the world where everything is in proper English, and the way that my culture and the things that I do kind of add a little seasoning to it, sprinkle it up, jazz it up. So then to be given the already jazzed up version of it was like, whoa, I don't even know what y'all talking about right now. I want to go into this book with a more academic perspective than trying to read it for leisure, because at the end of the day, like, reading for me, reading is for leisure, but I think with certain stories you really have to be intentional about what you're trying to get from it, and I am going into reading this book with all the intention I can muster. And on that same vein, number 20 is Nisa, The Life and Words of a Kung Woman by Marjorie Shostak. This is a book that I had to read for my psychological anthropology class in college. I'm gonna be honest with you, at the time that I had to read it for an assignment, I did just that. I read the part that I needed so that I could write the paper for the assignment. And I didn't really put that much thought into it because, you know, I was a college student, we was just getting out of the pandemic, everything was stressful, okay? But now I have the time and ability and fully formed frontal cortex to actually kind of break down and chew on the events that happened in this woman's life. This is a biography and an anthropological study of Nisa, who is a woman of the Kung San people of Africa's Kalahari Desert. So yes, I have read parts of the book for class, but I wasn't able to give it my full attention, and now I can. All in all, I am really using this season as a time of going in depth and kind of growing as a reader and pushing myself to think more critically about the content that I am consuming, which is why I am choosing to consume, what is that, higher frequency content? Is that what is it supposed to be higher frequency or lower frequency? I want a high frequency plate. I'm spending all of this time reading and I would like to be getting more out of it than I am. Right now it's just for leisure, but I do want to kind of expand my mind and go deeper than just the surface level of like reading the book and then just tossing it behind me and be like, oh, that was fun, next one. Like, no, like I actually want to get something out of these books that I'm reading. So in order to get good out, you got to put good in, and I will. I'm putting forth intention and kind of taking an academic approach to the books that I am reading, an anthropological approach, because we're gonna spend all this money on this school. I need to use it or I will lose it. Period. Okay, now I'm rambling because it's 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. I'm rambling like it's 2 o'clock in the morning and it's 8 p.m. As you can kind of see, I really done beefed up this little TBR. We've got a little bit of everything. We got romance, we got fantasy, we got lit fic, we got historical fiction, we got sci-fi. And that is so like outside the realms of what I normally do. So I'm excited to be reading for these next couple of months. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you liked it. Comment down below. Tell me what y'all reading. Tell me what you think about what I'm reading. Tell me if you think I'm full of hoopla with some of the stuff I said. Like if I'm just, you know. And subscribe to my channel, baby. Please support a Black-owned business. Please. It's almost Black History Month. What are you doing? Alright, and that's it for me. Bye, guys. If I was your